All right. Welcome everyone to the first ever Flux community team meeting. So this just happened on, we just put a plan quickly together. This is going to be a bit of an experiment. We want to meet every 2 weeks for the next 3 months or something, and then we can reevaluate where the journey exactly took us. But the idea was, since we have so many things we're organizing, like the blog for Flux, the social handles, the events, the KubeCon, all the things, it would be just nice to make this a bit more accessible, because Stacey, Vanessa, and I and others have been doing a lot behind the scenes. But I think it would be nice to have this open and transparent, and also bring in new folks. So that's the general idea. And usually this is also a lot of fun. So I hope that more people will join over time. Yes. All right. So as this is the first time, we don't have a structure for this. We don't have anything. I was wondering, maybe we could quickly go through the stuff we're currently doing, and then maybe I could later on take a crack at documenting all of this, so that we have... Oh, hello, Caden. That we just make sure we have like all the documents in one place, and then people can find everything easily.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna start off with, is kind of like maybe pointing to a folder where we can keep things, and then we can put some stuff there, because I mean, as we're getting ready for KubeCon right now, right, we're writing like social messages and things like that to get posted.
Exactly.
And it wouldn't be nice to have like other folks help us out on that and contribute and write new posts as like blogs come out, or the talks that people are interested in, they could promote, or things like that. But I don't think that lives anywhere specifically yet. So I can maybe create that sheet, and then we can take it from there. Perfect. Thanks, Daniel.
Fortunately, I can't. There must be a Linux problem. I can't share my screen easily, but here's the link. I'll also add it to the agenda document things we have. The first one is the Flux drive, and I tried to keep everything there. So right now it has a thing called comms. That's where the monthly updates and some of the blog posts went. And event planning also has some of the... Oh, it has the KubeCons. Yeah, sweet.
So I will put a new spreadsheet in the comms folder for socials, and then maybe make some stuff there. I think Vanessa's been working on stuff, but it's been on our internal channels. So we'll transfer that to the public Flux stuff, and then maybe get some feedback, like people can edit it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Get it scheduled and posted. So I guess my question off the bat is, I know that Batuan is a new project member. Does that give him access to like our socials and things like that? Or do you have to apply for, it's like specific teams that you want to be on, right? That you can have certain access. Is that right, Daniel?
Yeah. Okay. I think for that, let me see. I don't think we have documented this well, but so we have the community GitHub page. And I think towards the bottom there, we just documented who has access to things. So in generally, I think you could assume that all the core maintainers have access to everything. And then for everything else, we just document there who has access. Maybe we can, I don't know, create a formal community team where you apply and then you get access to the things. Or I think we could just come up with something. Maybe for now we just do it this way. And yeah. So for so maybe that's one thing we should add to the to also the meeting agenda, that we regularly check into the like the social calendar. Okay. Review social calendar. So the idea generally there is, I mean, if we find something interesting, we go and retweet it, or, you know, if we just have like a new blog post that comes out or new release, we retweet, or we just tweet it. But especially for something like the bigger events like KubeCon coming up now, it makes sense to have like a bit of a schedule, like a bunch of tweets. And also Vanessa and Stacy have started a small initiative to basically highlight some of the great content we have on the, in our documentation and, you know, past talks, because yeah, on Twitter, like everything gets lost very easily. So yeah, and planning that, like how did you usually go about this? Was this more of an ad hoc thing, or did you go every week or every 2 weeks and add more things to the social calendar, or how did it work up until now?
I mean, it's pretty event driven at the moment.
Yeah.
So I would say now, since KubeCon is the big focus, we've been trying to write some KubeCon messaging for all of the stuff that we got going on at KubeCon for Flux. So that's the talks and the project meeting and just the booth in general, like come see us and visit us at the kiosk, right, in the project pavilion. And then previously it was any talks or blogs or et cetera, like you mentioned before, Daniel, of anything that was coming out that was fresh, or, you know, like the CNCF on-demand webinars that we had done recently, where Max did the OCI update, any recent content or upcoming content in that regard that were like videos or talks. So yeah, it's been pretty event driven thus far. But, you know, I think we were hoping to kind of say to the community, if we can get more community folks involved, like what is important that you think we should be shining a light on, regarding maybe documentation. Like maybe there's a documentation guide that people aren't really seeing, like the OCI cheat sheet is out there, right? And it hasn't really been promoted all that much. And I don't know, anything new with documentation that might be coming out or that has been revised and updated, et cetera, et cetera. So those are things that are kind of in the back of my head when it comes to that.
Yeah, great. Batuan and I chatted earlier today, and he said maybe we could also have something like, I don't know, the contributor of the month or something. And I think all those ideas are fantastic. I think the more people we get together, and somebody who says like, I really care about, you know, highlighting the great work of contributors more, so like, go, let's go. Like, I think that's fantastic.
Yep. I love that idea. I think that's fantastic.
Okay. So I think once we've moved the spreadsheet, we can start planning more tweets. And do you also publish all of this stuff on LinkedIn and I don't know where else?
Yeah.
Or
So, yeah, we have the LinkedIn, there's a community, the Flux community on LinkedIn, that we can share posts into. And then Twitter, of course, which if we're scheduling things out, I kind of like to use TweetDeck for Twitter, just because it's easy to see everything that's coming up. And then, yeah, if anybody wants to like individually post on LinkedIn, then we can retweet and, just people in the Flux community in general. But I think posting to that Flux community group in LinkedIn is the key place. And even promoting that group, actually, like, so that we can get more people to join it. Because I don't know how many members we have, but it does seem like some people are finding us there, so that's good.
Yeah, it's definitely less than than Twitter.
And then also there's the Slack stuff too, right?
Right, yeah.
So in Slack we do Flux and Flagger channels. When we have Flux talks, I like to do the events channel in CNCF Slack, as well as like the GitOps channel in the Kubernetes Slack. And I think that there's an events channel in Kubernetes Slack as well that I like to post to.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to take notes.
I see, yeah. Thank you.
Super. Okay, so that means you will move the spreadsheet, and then maybe we can also just discuss it on Slack and see who else has ideas.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Super.
I think it's the spreadsheet is not perfect, because the spreadsheet right now is just like social messages, like for Twitter. It's like kind of Twitter specific, but I think it will be nice to have like the posts are written, like have they been edited or reviewed by somebody, and then have they been scheduled, and then where have they been scheduled, like Flux handle on Twitter, the LinkedIn, Slack channels, etc. Like having checkboxes, I think, for all those is something that I should add, because I think that's a good place to have kind of everything all in one doc. Or is that kind of on your comms plan sheet already that you have?
No, not quite.
Not exactly. Yeah.
Not quite exactly yet. Yeah. No.
Okay. So then I'll edit that spreadsheet and paste it so that everyone can access it then.
Maybe there's a GitHub action. You can send a pull request, somebody reviews it, and then GitHub goes, okay, I'll tweet that for you.
Oh, that would be great. We could get some GitOps automation around Twitter.
Exactly.
That would be amazing.
It's socials by pull request.
Yeah, let us know if you know how to do that.
The Twitter operator in the cluster.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Sweet.
Cool.
Yeah. Right. Now that you mentioned the comms plan, that might also be interest. I'll also make sure to document this. So we have a big spreadsheet which currently has all the blog posts we've written, and then essentially just made sure that we post them everywhere. And I think some of these, I mean, obviously Twitter is important, the Slack as well, but also things like getting it on the CNCF blog as well, and getting the CNCF to retweet it. That's all helpful too. So it's a bit of a process. Like sometimes I feel, once you've merged your pull request for the Flux blog, it takes like, I don't know, at least half an hour or longer to go through everything and post the stuff everywhere. But I think it really pays off.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess that's the other thing is like, maybe just having a checklist might be a good idea, right? Of where we typically like to. And I think that's why I was talking about that social spreadsheet of having that. But, when we put out a new communication of whatever sort, here's all the things that kind of need to be done. I think you kind of have that in your comms plan already.
Yeah.
So that might be like our master checklist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your suggestion would be that we add something.
I just wonder if the comms plan is like where we start with okay, here's all the things that need to happen when we come out with whatever X communication, right?
Oh yeah, okay.
And that way people know where to start the path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then, because I think what we, in the comms plan, what we do is like, we put our names in, we fill our names in where we want to, who wants to do what. So I think that's probably a good starting point. We've just been winging it until now. No formal process. We've just been winging it. There's been no like formal process. It's just been like, just do what needs to be done. But it would be nice to formalize the process so that anyone can know sort of where things are at and how we go about
exactly.
it. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so what else? Yeah, I think that could also be like a, I'll add it as well. Review upcoming blog posts. So I'll just add an agenda item. A standing agenda item that we review upcoming blog posts. So right now, one that needs review. I had a first pass over it, was the one from Batuhan now. So maybe if one of you has time later on, would be nice if somebody reviewed.
Cool.
Somebody review.
Nice. Yeah, and I think maybe once people are on the comms team, maybe we can have a guide where we, like in GitHub or somewhere in documentation of like, here's all the things that we do as part of Flux comms. I think the GitOps working group has a comms team and they do this.
Okay.
So maybe we can sort of look at what they've done and do something similar. But you request to be on, you make a PR to say like, I want to be on the comms team, somebody adds you, and then you get access to like, okay, well, here's what comms looks like for this, right?
Okay.
So I think that would be something for the future that we could set up. Doesn't have to happen right away, but I think that's probably something to have where everything is documented. It can link out to all the relative things, and then there's a process that people can follow and know exactly how to do all the things that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that would be nice. Like, I mean, the good thing is that as soon as people want to get involved, they can just join the meetings. They are open. We can very easily give access to all the documents. So if somebody is good at, reviewing stuff or really enjoys tweeting and adding their favorite GIFs everywhere, that's great, because I don't enjoy it. Like, if somebody can do it, that's super. So
yeah, fabulous.
I think it will be easy for people to get in and start contributing, and then maybe as soon as people have contributed a little bit, they can also get access to the socials. Like I don't think I would want to immediately give people access to the Flux Twitter, right? But if people contribute a bit and we know them, I think then that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one more thing is probably what the two of you do around events. I wonder how folks could. So one thing I just thought of, like, when you start planning events and then they need to be announced, like on the socials, but also in the monthly Flux blog post and probably elsewhere. And then once that's done, we also want to, post the videos, the recordings everywhere and mention them. Right. So I guess that's also something where people could help.
Yeah, for sure. Like right now, I think we have both of the CNCF on-demand webinars that we did in the last month. I don't think they've been added to the Flux website yet as a resource. So that's something that like we could create an issue for, and then somebody could edit it and start contributing that way as well. That's also a good first, beginner contribution kind of thing that is pretty straightforward. So I can create issues there once, or Vanessa or Daniel, whomever, we can do that so that we can tag them with the relative things so that they're easy to find.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And then I think it's nice to like encourage people too from the outside, because we're so like within the Weaveworks team, like we do certain things, but just from the Flux community side, to encourage people, like if you are giving a talk, to post it on the Flux calendar, to put it as a resource, right? To create for the community to also, like help us, because we're not always aware of everything that's going on unless somebody either pings us or lets us know somehow. Or if somebody digs something up and is like, oh, I saw this great Flux talk, and do we want to add it to the website or things like that? Like, I think we don't know what we don't know, right?
That's right.
When we're organizing things, that's one thing. But if other folks are just out there doing stuff and we don't know about it, we just don't know about it.
Yeah. I wonder what would be the best way to, I mean, usually if they tweet it at FluxCD, we would see it.
Or like, creating an issue to be added to the, or can anyone add an event to the, if they're part of the calendar?
No, I think the calendar has very tight
restrictions on who can edit it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think if we just tell people, let us know if there's events, if there's anything. I was just also thinking regarding the events process. It looks like it's generally always the same process, sort of. So, like once, for example, you figure out together with, I don't know, with Philip, and Philip wants to give a talk about OCI or whatever. Once that's sorted out, that you run through like essentially a checklist.
Right.
So before the event, this needs to happen. After the event, the other stuff needs to happen.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, maybe it would be good to have like an issue template. So you just create an issue in the community repo, and then people can check off the individual bits. I just went and added it to the resources page.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I also wonder if we want to do like maybe even a CFP. Like, do you have a talk that you want to give? And maybe having a CFP for people too.
Yes.
Like, submit what you want to talk about for Flux as well, and then we can review it as a Flux community team and then approve it and get it set up and things like that. I think that would encourage more community members, not just Flux maintainers or Flux advocates out there, but like actually drawing in the community to say, and Caden's given us a thumbs up, so that's great. Yeah, we need a place where people can submit a CFP to give a Flux talk, and then have the Flux team kind of say, yes, let's help you in promoting it, and if we need to organize it with you or whatever, then we can take on some of that as well. So
yeah, I think this is a great idea, because a lot of people love the intro to like Flux and GitOps, but maybe more advanced users would like to showcase certain subjects. I mean, people are doing their own discoveries and different ways to doing it. So I think this is an amazing idea.
Or want to show their use case, right? They have a funky use case that isn't listed in any of the guides or whatever, right? We don't even know half the time how people are using Flux because it's just out there in the wild, right? Sometimes Slack gives us clues, but it would surely be nice to like hear from end users, folks that are using Flux in new and cool and different ways.
Yeah.
And maybe trying out the new stuff that's come out, right? Like, has anyone been
Try
playing around with the
Terraform.
new OCI stuff and all that, right? So cool. Yeah, that's great.
And on GitHub, it might be if the CFP is up, then it makes it less aggressive. You know, sometimes people are quite shy to speak, but that process can be like very, you know, like I'm just going to go on, I'm going to do it myself in my own time, and then you guys can get back to me whenever. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I was also just thinking that we, you know, currently if you go to fluxcd.io/community, it's just a wall of text. It's very boring, but it would, no, it is. I mean, I wrote most of it, but it's still boring, but.
You're not boring. The page is boring.
I mean,
the text isn't boring, but the page is boring.
In the interest of time and sanity and everything, that's what we went with. But
yes, totally.
It would be nice if we created like a small page for, you know, the things you can do. And maybe there could just be a button, you know, submit your topic or your, you know, the thing you want to, your thing.
Yeah.
Or people could also we could also have like a spreadsheet where people list their events. Like sometimes there might be like a, you know, local Kubernetes meetup or whatever, and we don't know that it's happening in 2 weeks. And maybe we have somebody who would like, you know, to dial in and present. That could also be.
I guess my other thing too is like, how visible is our calendar, and is it enough, or do we need something better, right? Like in ways of promoting our upcoming events and stuff like that. Do people see our calendar on the Flux website? Are they looking? I know that if you belong to the mailing list, right, then there's an option to notify the whole mailing list of when an event comes up, or is upcoming, or when you schedule it, right? But do we know if folks are engaging with our calendar in that way, or I don't know if there's any way to tell.
I don't know either.
It's a little difficult. If you're a first-time person, I think it's using groups.io, right? Or something like that. Yeah. So it's a little difficult if you're a first-time person trying to interact with that kind of platform in general. Like, I guess difficult in the sense that, you know, it's easy for you to view the calendar, but if I want to, you know, kind of subscribe to it, and add it to my like collection of other CNCF events, and get it synced to like my calendar application of choice, that's difficult. But I mean, so I think there is a degree of barrier, but nothing really too concerning about it, but just my experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's really good feedback to hear. And I'm just wondering about like the general visibility of it. Like, I know it's like super far down on the page. You know, you gotta kind of scroll to the bottom of the Flux website. Like, so that's like the first thing that comes to mind is like, how do we get more people to actually see the calendar and what's coming up? Because it's not only like, oh, these special talks that we're giving, it's also the bug scrub that Kingdom's doing every other week or every week, and any community events that are coming up, like the maintainer meetings and or community meetings, and things like that. So like general visibility, I wonder if it's not the best place for it to be at the very bottom of the first meeting.
Intuitively, I think that like if I want to get involved with like a project, I'm going to look at like the community markdown file, and I would expect to see like a link to, you know, like these different platforms where I can like engage with the community on that markdown file. From my perspective.
Yeah, that's really good info. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So I think we have some work to do on our pages, right? On like the GitHub pages, the community markdown page, as well as the I guess does it it doesn't translate to the fluxcd.io/community, right? That's a separate page from the
I think that's
markdown.
where it should be.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I think there's some work to do there of as we go and we develop our processes. Maybe just uploading these pages. Cool.
Yeah, I'll find issue to one, move the calendar further up on the landing page. I think that should be easy to do. Like, you know, who's interested in the wall of logos? Like, I think that it can be a bit further down. And maybe also was thinking if we should have like, I don't know, I was just thinking maybe like the next event that is happening also highlighted somewhere at the top. I don't know.
I also do wonder about like making the resources. I like your idea of highlighting somewhere up top, like coming up.
Exactly.
That's one way to increase visibility on anything that we have coming up on the calendar. For sure. I like that idea a lot. I do also wonder about resources on the homepage on fluxcd.io. When you scroll down to the very bottom, there's that list of resources, but it has to be manually updated every single time on that homepage. But then we also have the resources like as a separate thing that we update there. And I wonder if there's a way to pull so that that resources section on the homepage automatically pulls like the last 6 talks or something like that from our resources page. Is that something that we could do so that it's not as like manual of a process to update those resources on the homepage?
I'll take a look. I don't know offhand.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. And I'm not sure of how. I'm not a web developer, so I don't know how hard that is. I don't want to ask for something that's unrealistic, right? But I do want to kind of make our lives easier and automate where we can. So if there's a way to do that, I think that's something that we should maybe look into. Thanks for taking notes, Daniel. Kaden, from an outsider's perspective, like, you know, not outsider, but you're in the Flux community, but you don't happen to work at Weaveworks like Daniel and Vanessa and I do. Could we be doing a better job of getting people to engage with us from the community perspective? I liked your ideas on the community markdown and things like that, but is there anything else that strikes you that maybe we could do a better job of?
I mean, the root of it all is like the individual user's inspiration to want to engage with the community. So I think that's one part of it. And I think the other part is making it accessible, kind of like we've been talking about through these different ways of like highlighting, you know, making the, I guess, on-ramp, so to speak, easier for people to get involved.
Yeah.
Maybe unrelated, but I think one of the common things that I see is like, oh, like maybe like somebody sends me like this really cool article that I'm like, that I read about, you know, maybe something that a piece of technology we're interested in. And the first thing I think, if I haven't seen it, is, you know, how have I not seen this article? Like what pages can I be involved in, you know, in order to see this too? You know, because like, you know, at that point, like I want to read about it like the day one that comes out. I want to read about it, you know, like maybe like 3 months, 6 months down the line after it comes out. So I want to be, I guess I want to have my feeds in sync with, you know, kind of like the communities that I'm interested in. So yeah, I mean, I think what you all have been talking about has been sufficient, you know, really finding a good way to distribute your different events. But yeah, I think it's good to acknowledge through all this, though, that there is a degree of inspiration or motivation that has to come from the end user, that they want to engage in your community in the first place, and then just making it easier for them to on-ramp and do it.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the feedback.
Yeah, that's great. And I think we've just been, like I said before at the beginning, we've been kind of winging it for a long time. So now's the time where we're like, this is starting to get to be a lot for all of us. So making it easier for other people to help is, I think, definitely the way to go. So perfect.
Yeah, there's one more small thing I'm just thinking of. It is also uploading the videos. So that's meeting recordings like the one from today and other talks that they also end up on the YouTube. Should probably document that as well.
Right.
YouTube channel. Yeah. Maybe that's everything. I don't know. Is that all we do?
I think it's a good start.
Yes, yes, that's right.
We have a lot on our document now.
Okay, we're not going for comprehensive. We're going for the 80%, right?
Incremental.
Yes.
Exactly. No, this is good. This is a really good start. And just, I think talking about the things, all of the things, and then figuring out where the gaps are, I think is the biggest part too, because we're all so busy all the time. It's hard to just like concentrate on like the nuts and bolts of making sure we have documentation and all that kind of stuff. So this is good.
Yeah. I think I'll get straight to it. Like, for example, adding like the issue template and documenting that. I think it will be nice like that once we move to that we have like a queue of things we're supposed to get through. Like it will be much easier than having like a bunch of Google Docs. Like some of them are public, other ones I forgot to share with everyone, and it's a big mess, and it will be just easier and more transparent this way.
Yeah, I think you're right. I like it. Okay.
Along with the document, I think you have kind of like maybe centralizing it too, right? Because if you look at like the Flux 2 repository, you got a section for community, but could that be just like a link to like the community repository?
Yeah.
Things like that, where you have that you update at one place, updates everywhere, so to speak.
Yes,
right.
Yes. That makes sense. Okay, maybe I'll note this down as well. And I think we have an issue for that somewhere, but I think there's more places where we could sort of centralize community and contributor docs. But I think if we make it so that and I could imagine that doing this on the website could be like the most interesting or appealing if you have like buttons for things and and you make it look like really nice, and then everything else on GitHub you just make a link to it,
right,
like a really nice community page. I think that would be fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah, maybe that's something we can talk about the next time.
Sounds good.
Next time, hash out beautiful community page. Good.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I think
is there anything
great.
else any one of you was sort of hoping to discuss, or anything where you need help?
I think for me, it's just socials. So I will get that spreadsheet copied over to the folder that you pointed to, Daniel, and then hopefully we can get more folks reviewing those, contributing to those, and then getting those tweet it out and etc. So that's great.
Super. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Me too.
I guess I'll
Thanks for
see you
organizing
online, and then also in 2 weeks the next time.
Yeah, KubeCon, here we come.
That's right. Yeah. Is there anything KubeCon related you wanted to talk about today, or?
I don't think so. I think our biggest thing is like getting some socials out regarding all the things that we're doing at KubeCon. I've scheduled a few things last week, but I'm already behind, and it's Monday at 9:45 my time. So
Right.
it's just a matter of getting things going again. So
yeah, I'll also write a KubeCon blog post, just
fantastic.
explaining again all the stuff we do. So I'm going to reach out.
Great. Sounds good.
Super.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And see you online.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.